Hey, happy Memorial Day. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about making sure you give yourself some time off, some time away from your eBay reselling business. And then I want to talk about everything that sold over this past weekend, Memorial Day weekend on eBay. But if it's your first time here, my name is Brian. I'm a reseller. Welcome. If you've been here before, welcome back. I sell in the everything category on eBay. I purchase my items at garage sales, estate sales, and thrift stores, and then sell them on eBay for a profit almost all the time. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about giving yourself some time off. Whenever you work for yourself, it's very easy to drive, just push as hard as you can and forget to stop and relax a little bit. I frequently have to remind myself, it's mostly when it comes to my kids, right? If there's something they want to go do, or if I need to drop them off at an event and I'm trying to do something, with my eBay business, occasionally I'll start to get a little bit frustrated in my mind and go, man, I'm right in the middle of this. And then I remind myself that this is exactly why I wanted to do this. I wanted to have the flexibility to spend time with my kids, during the day whenever I get the opportunity, to make sure they get, where they need to go, if they need a ride somewhere, to get to stop in the middle of the day and have lunch with my wife, if she wants to do that, or if I want to do that, to run out and see my dad at his house if I need, maybe some boxes or something. And it's just stuff I can do in the middle of the day, or at basically any point in my schedule that I didn't used to have that type of flexibility. I was really, glued to my desk chair, to my desk, to all my monitors and my Teams chat, and got Zoom meetings, and just all that stuff was just had me completely strapped down, probably about 60 hours a week. And it was just, man, it was insane the amount of pressure and stress you get from that stuff. So in your reselling business, make sure you don't put that same amount of stress on yourself and pressure on yourself constantly. Take some time away, plan it, know it's going to happen. This past week, sales weren't as good as they were the week before or the week before that. I knew that was going to happen because I wasn't spending a lot of time listing. I wasn't spending a lot of time on the computer. I didn't send as many offers. I sent some offers much later than I would have normally. All that stuff kind of took a back seat to the last week of school. There was a couple of finals. I was making sure my younger son was, getting to school when he needed to. My older son had graduation practice. He had the senior send-off. And then it was, spending most of Friday getting ready for graduation. And then yesterday, Sunday, was my youngest son's birthday. It was my anniversary. There's a whole bunch of stuff that I was preparing for that whole week. I was still packing and shipping orders, and I even made some videos. But in my general eBay business, I wasn't doing as much as I normally would. And that's okay. So just make sure that if you're doing that stuff, do it intentionally, know it's going to happen. You can plan for your sales to be a little bit down. The thing where I really missed is I didn't queue up enough or draft enough items the week before to where I could just release them or schedule them while I was, not doing as much listing. I should have done that, and that was a miss on my part, but I would definitely recommend that. That was just, that part was a miss on me. But yeah, that's all I wanted to talk about. Just, if you're spending time with your family, don't think about what you could be doing on eBay. Just make sure you're present there. It's probably more of a reminder for myself than, advice for anybody else, but I just wanted to say that out loud. Now we can talk about what sold over the weekend on eBay. I had 10 sales come in. It was same as the week before. I had 10 sales the weekend before that. They weren't quite as big this weekend, but I had some decent sales. And I'm just going to go through them in the order that the sales came in. And weekend sales for me are Friday, usually, anytime after about 8 or 9 o'clock. If I get sales before 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning, I'm shipping them on Friday with everything I sold Thursday. Anything that comes in after that, I'm usually not here to ship, to pack. So I'm out of here and sourcing and doing other stuff. So this is going to be everything that's sold Friday mid-morning through Sunday night. And the first item that came up This was an interesting one. I picked up, I think at a garage sale or an estate sale. I think it was an estate sale, actually. It's called a visor tag. VisorTag.com. They've got their branding on there. But what it is, you put it on your visor, so it clips like that, and then this hangs down. So you put it from the front side of your visor, so it's sticking back this way. And whenever you park, if you have a handicap placard or some type of special placard, it has magnets that just release, and it just hangs down. A lot of people don't like them hanging in their rearview mirror all the time, or they'll lose them somewhere. So, this just allows you to keep it tucked away, and you just can release that thing. And then whenever you're done, you just pop it back up on the magnets, and it's out of your way. When I saw it, I was like, that's a really interesting item. Kind of medical, not really, but medical adjacent. So I looked them up, and brand new ones I think are selling for like 40 or 50 bucks. I had this one, I think, on sale for maybe 20 or 25 for a while. Wasn't getting much action. So new ones were selling, but I hadn't seen any used ones sell. But I left it up. I only paid $1 for it. Ended up selling it for $13 plus shipping, and it's going out the door. The next item that sold is this. This is by a brand called Conceal Carry Clothiers. CLOTHIERS. Very fancy way to say clothing company, Clothiers. But so it's a conceal and carry vest. This is, I think, either a 2X or a 3X. I picked it up at my local Goodwill here for $4.95. I saw this exact one had sold somewhat recently. There was one sold, there was none listed, so I picked it up for $4.95, and I sold it for $32.89 plus shipping. That's a pretty good one. And pretty lightweight. It's a lightweight vest. Let's see. And the third item that sold, gosh, I picked this up, I don't know, 9 months ago, is this Honda CRV floor mat set. I picked up at a garage sale for $5 and sold for $40 plus shipping. On floor mats, there's a good chance if you pick them up, you might have to sit on them a while, depending on what they are. These didn't have a great sell-through rate, but I knew they'd sell and for decent money. So they're easy to list. I throw these down on my driveway, take my pictures, and then I shrink wrap them all together, stretch wrap them so they stay intact, and then I'll get them shipped out. And there's a lot of different ways you can ship these. You can ship them in a big flat box. You can kind of roll them up and put them in smaller boxes. So I've shipped them multiple different ways depending on the ones that I was shipping. All right, we've got another clothing item. Got these vintage, these are 90s. These aren't even Y2K, these are 90s Levi's silver tabs in black denim. Super baggy fit, just right on trend. I picked them up at Goodwill for $10.10 in the black denim, in that, silver tab. I knew I had something there. I had them listed high. I think I started off at about 74 bucks, $74.89, and then I started coming down a little bit and ended up dropping the price to $50 flat, and took probably about 3 or 4 days after that and sold them for full price, $50 plus shipping. So gonna make, about 30 bucks on these all in. Pretty good flip. All right. And then the next two items that sold were both Pampered Chef items and both round baking dishes. Separate buyers, separate days. It was kind of hilarious that it worked out that way, but it did. So the first one that sold is this Pampered Chef. This is an 11-inch round baking, round baker. So it's just got the branding right there on the back. Picked this one up at Goodwill for $5.32 and sold it for $19.89 plus shipping. Not the best flip in the world, but I knew it would sell. The Pampered Chef, there's a lot of Pampered Chef, even the stoneware that I stay away from. There's like loaf pans and some other specialty stuff that if it looks somewhat specialty at all, Goodwill's been marking those things up from, gosh, $7, $8, $12, $10 plus. So I can't pick them up there. I could probably pick them up at an estate sale or garage sale if they're priced right, but there's only select pieces you can really pick up at Goodwill with their pricing model and make it worth it. This one worked out, so I was happy with that one. And then the next day, I sold this 8-inch Pampered Chef. This is another round bowl or baker. I paid $2 for this at a garage sale and sold it for $15.89 plus shipping. I knew it would sell pretty easily. I've only had it for a few weeks because it was so clean. People don't mind the patina, the seasoning on the Pampered Chef, but if you can sell a piece, it's super clean from the get-go. It sells a little bit better and sometimes for a little bit more money. All right, this next item is a personal item. We had a bunch of extra flatware that was brand new, hadn't been used, and decided to get it listed up. These have been sitting for a while. This is the brand Echo, EKCO. They make stainless steel flatware. They also made cookware for different people. Permanent stainless steel being one of them. They made cookware for them. Or not the, no, sorry. The, I'm going to get it wrong. It was the Royal Prestige. Echo made a Royal Prestige. But there it is. Really pretty pieces in great shape. I mean, they're brand new. They've not been used. They've just been in these bags. So, sold these for $10 plus shipping on an offer. Somebody sent me an offer for these. I took it because they've been sitting for so long. I just wanted to try to start getting them moving out the door. Next item is the second one of these that I had. I sold the large, extra large size. This is a small medium. This is a North Face brimmer or boonie cap. What do they call it in here? It's a brimmer. This is mineral purple. Has those really cool cactus flowers all over it. Picked this up at Ross last year for $14 and let's see, $16.40. $16.40. It was high. And I sold this one on an offer. So the first one I sold full price. This one I sold on an offer for $19.91 plus shipping. I looked back at what I'm going to pay on shipping and then backed up my costs, and I'm either going to, I might make like $1 or slightly less than $1. So I'll get all my money back except for holding costs. Get all my money back on that. So I'm crossing my fingers that I will not have lost money this week, that I won't go below that line. So we'll see how that works. But the next item that sold is I don't know if you say a roll or rowel, Western wear shirt. I featured this in probably a couple different videos talking about some new brands and clothing recently, but I picked this up at Goodwill. I did pay up for it. I saw it, caught my eye, and I looked at it. It was $10.99 plus tax, so I'm into this for $11.94. But because of the brand, the sell-through rate, it was very desirable. I've only had this actually live for about 4 days. I might have actually sold it I sold it in about 48 hours actually, for $38.60 plus shipping. I think I listed it at $44.89, and I sent out a couple offers whenever I had a couple different people interested, and I thought, if I send an offer and there's more than one person, the likelihood of an offer being accepted when there's more than one person seeing it or getting the offer is higher, because eBay says there are multiple people getting this offer. So the FOMO kicks in, and it did. So I sold it for $38.60 plus shipping. And on stuff like that, a lot of the clothing, I'm typically making, $1, $2, $3 on shipping because I do flat rate shipping on my clothes. That just seemed to line up with what everybody was doing on their clothing as flat rate shipping. Even more so, it seemed like, than free shipping. In the used space, in brand new clothing, it seemed like free shipping was pretty predominant. But so I do flat rate shipping, so I'm going to probably make an extra couple bucks on that shirt, but we'll see how that goes. And then the 10th item that sold over the weekend, that came in, I don't know, about 11 o'clock last night, was this coffee mug. It's a NASA Johnson Space Center coffee mug. Really cool piece. I picked it up at an estate sale for 25 cents, and I sold it for $14.89 plus shipping. I actually saw a sold comp for that for, I think it was 20 or 22, something like that, but it was brand new. And I looked at their listing and I looked at my mug and I was like, I can't tell. Is mine brand new? I don't know. It was on a display shelf in the house, but I put it as used because I didn't want to have to deal with any condition issues or anything like that, and got it out the door. So, virtually all profit with a quarter into it and selling it for 15. Can't complain about that a bit. And that's it. That's all 10 items that sold over the weekend. I really hope you also, if you're a reseller at least, that you had a successful weekend on eBay. And if you're not, well, for everybody, I hope you've had a great Memorial Day weekend. It's the last day of the Memorial Day weekend. And then if you've got a regular job, you're probably back to work tomorrow. So make sure and enjoy it. And until next time, have a great day.